Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. Sound right, boys.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I've got a special guest here, Mark from Canucks Digest. Welcome to the show, Mark. How are you doing tonight?
I mean, if the Canucks won, I'd be doing a little better, but thank you so much for having me on. This is an awesome experience, and thank you once again.
No problem, man. I'm pumped to have you here. Yes, like you said, it is the 4-3 overtime loss. Well, we still get a point, Mark. We still get a point, right? So we got to stay a little bit positive here. And the third period was dynamic. Have you seen the Canucks play like that at all this season?
I'm going to be honest. When they took the two penalties, I was a little worried, but that line of just JT Miller and them just really went electric, and I think it brought so much life back for him.
Totally. Okay, we're going to dive into this together, and I'm excited to have Mark here. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, and I'm just glad to have you here, man. If you guys haven't hit the like or subscribe on the channel yet, please do. Also hit like and subscribe on Canucks Digest. Mark is doing a lot of good work, putting out a lot of content. In fact, he just finished a video tonight. It's like he lives in Newfoundland, and it's like 1 million in the morning right now, just finishing a video. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe for Mark. Mark, can you give us just like the title of what the video's on? Give us a sneak peek.
We're kind of we did a video just kind of talking on the X factors going into playoffs, what we can expect, and just a preview on just how Dakota Joshua and a guy like Garland might be the pieces that Canucks fans want to pick up a deadline with Toffoli and other names like that. So it's just mostly talking about not to be worried and what to expect in the playoffs.
Nice. I like the positivity. Okay, let's dive into some conversation about tonight's game. We're going to start with the pregame story. So Lindholm is back. I was not expecting him to be back tonight. I thought he had a fantastic game, but Shilovs is in net again, which means Demko's not ready. Do you think Demko's going to be back for the Saturday game, or do you think it's going to be Shilovs in net?
I think they're going to go Shilovs. The big thing with Demko is a lot of people are kind of talking on how he's getting back. I know Taka kind of spoke on he's not 100%. They're going to slowly work him back. So we might see him for the final game, or they just might wait till the first game of the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I think the point for me for the Demko situation is like, trust me, I want him back for Saturday, but it's like, is that the game you want where he's going to be going crease to crease and these guys are flying right now? The problem is it's a big game that we actually need to win. Well, I guess we don't need to win, but it'd be nice to win. Apparently, if we go 2-2-1, we still can. I mean, they have to go 5-1 in their last 6, and well, I guess tonight they won, so they have so they got to go 4-1 now. So it's still hard for them. We got all the tiebreakers, right? So I'm nervous about Demko having to, but the guy wants to get in, Mark. He wants to get in. So, but you're hearing that he's not going to be ready.
Yeah, from what Taka kind of said in his post game and after the scrims and practices was that they're slowly weaning him back into it. They don't want to force him to hop in and not be 100%. So it seems like he could come back. I know, like you said, he's dying to get back on the ice. He wants to be with his team. But I wouldn't want to put him in a game, just shake the rust off, and end up losing 5-1 and kill any bit of confidence or anything like that.
Or get injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, and so Then Juleson's healthy scratch again tonight. Arizona might move to Salt Lake City. I have 2 in there twice. So that's I'm just going to remove that while we're looking at it here. But that's the big question for tonight, everyone. Is this the last time the Canucks ever play the Coyotes? And so that's actually a huge thing to ask, right? Like, to think about. It's just wild to think that the Coyotes might not be back. Now, we've been talking about it for a long time. I mean, the NHL's been saying, I've been saying, you need to move them out of there if you can't get a stadium. The Mullet Arena, like, it's kind of worked, but it's just like AHL or junior hockey level. Like, it's not NHL level. I think it's been a bit of a disgrace, and I feel like the Coyotes fans have deserved better. And I don't know what's going on in Arizona, but they have totally screwed this up. So what are your thoughts, Mark, about the Coyotes? And do you think this is going to be the last game that they ever play Coyotes? Are they going to find a way to stay there or what?
The weird thing is, because we've seen the Coyotes kind of come out, their PR team say, hey, we have an arena. This is what we want to build. And then just a couple days later, Frank Chiravelli comes out and says there's a huge bid on the Coyotes to move them to Salt Lake. There was a lot of people, I know Dave Pagnotta kind of talked on it as well, was the fact that if an expansion team does happen in, say, 2027, 28, that the NHL has made it clear that they would let Arizona get another team. They would be welcome to bring in a team to Phoenix. But the only problem with this is, and what's unfair to fans, are these are players that they've grown up to love. Clayton Keller's a guy. Josh Doan, I mean, Shane Doan's an idol in Arizona. And not having these players on a roster in Phoenix or Arizona, whatever it might be, is the part that I kind of feel bad for fans for. They need to just kind of start loving new faces, and these players could go on and win a Stanley Cup in Salt Lake.
Absolutely. We're going to win a Stanley Cup in Salt Lake? Whoo, getting bold, brother. No, but that's a great take, and I appreciate your comments on that, because I think it's the end of Arizona, to be honest. I think that stuff doesn't leak without it going like there's something real happening there. But maybe it lights a fire underneath the Coyotes' butts, and I don't know. I guess, like they say, it's a great place to play hockey, and I keep thinking, really? How is it a great place? It's like, is it because you can walk out of the cold rink and you're in the? It's like, boy, it's hot out here. Like, do you wear a jersey to the rink because you're cold, and then take it off when you're going to the car? I don't. Problems that Canadians don't have.
That's true.
Yeah, Newfoundland, I don't think you'd be worried about that. Right?
Yeah, we're still getting snow right now, so.
Oh man, well, I'm on Vancouver Island. The snow has been gone for a long time. We've hardly had any snow this year. I'm like, can't wait for sandals weather. I hate wearing shoes, that kind of thing. But yeah, I hear you. Okay, let's dive into the game here. We're gonna go period by period real quickly. And so first period, I don't know how you felt about it, but I felt like the first 3/4 of the first period was extremely boring. Like, the shots were there's 3 shots on goal by both teams, and all of them were from Vancouver. It was like, not only was Arizona terrible, I felt like we were terrible. Now, there was a stat that was running throughout the game, is how many shot attempts we had compared to Arizona, and then it turned around, like, obviously into the third period, but I'm like, man, like, how come we can't get things on net? How come we're not getting quality scoring chances? But I felt like the game was so stinking boring in the first period. Did you feel the same way, or?
Oh, I was lying down. I was trying to stay awake the entire first, and I didn't know if I was just too tired in the way I was looking at it, but I kept looking, saying 3-3. This doesn't feel right. But I agree. It was just a slow first period. It felt like both teams just kind of got slow-footed, and no one really caught any momentum fast.
Yeah. And then this is probably my biggest frustration lately, is that in the first period, in the first power play of the first period, we had 0 shots again. Like, this is not an uncommon thing where the Canucks are getting 0 shots on a power play. Thankfully, in the first period, the second power play was dangerous. Surprised that the Canucks didn't score. Are you concerned about these 0 shot power plays that we're having, or is it just is what it is?
I feel like it's just unlucky at this point. I mean, look at the personnel they have on both power plays. It's a weird sense of it worked during the start of the year and it faded off. So I'm just hoping maybe it's a cold streak. Maybe they're testing new things and they don't want to reveal anything for the playoffs. But at this point, I'd like to see more power play goals and I'd like to see more shots, like you're saying.
Yeah. I noticed that they try to pass it around and then all of a sudden get that across and that tip pass, or like, the guys right in front of the net. It's like all those tip kind of things. And when they go in, it looks like tic-tac-toe, beautiful. I get it, but it's frustrating. I'm at the point where I'm like, get a shot on net, please. Okay, so for me, noticeable players in the first period were the good was PDG. Lafferty was noticeable. Hughes, of course. I mean, he's magical. Garland, of course, he's been great lately. But the bad was Pettersson. And I've been talking for months about Pettersson the Ghost. And I felt like he was doing, again, it's like he's apprehensive. He's not taking the shots. Like he is not, when it's on the power play comes across, he rarely shooting the one-timers. Even when he gets it, it stops with him. And then he waits, the defenders come, and then it gets deflected because the guy's in position. How's your take been on PD this year and even recently?
It seems with him like it might be just a mental thing of him overthinking things. It's at the point I'm hoping it's just him just kind of saving things for the playoffs. I mean, I'm sure we're all hoping for that. But it's one of those weird things. I can't really point my finger on what's going on, but I agree with you. He hasn't been as lethal as he has been, even at the start of the season or last year. So it's a little concerning. I know we have him locked up long term, but maybe we see a different beast of him in the playoffs. I mean, fingers crossed, like I said.
Yeah, I kind of feel like when it comes to the playoffs, there's a number of players like, please perform, please perform, please perform. You know what I mean? So I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Okay, what did you think about that Myers penalty? That looked like a ghost call to me, but what did you think about that?
I find, well, I mean, this game alone, I felt like there was multiple ghost calls. It's one of those, I was a coin flip for me. I think I was half asleep watching it. So it's, like I said, I felt like this game, there wasn't a just like egregious kind of like calls, but at the same time, there was a lot of things, like you said, were ghost calls, and it felt like it went a lot in the favor of Arizona.
Yeah, that one was really brutal. It's like, come on, dude. The guy fell over his own skates. And all right, let's dive into the second period real quick here. Zadorov and Myers get significant chances, don't end up scoring. It would have been so cool if you had the two Twin Towers scoring in the second period. Didn't get it. But the huge rebound by Shilovs it goes right to Josh Brown. He gets the goal. It's 1-0. It was really discouraging because I felt like we were outplaying them. And then, but the problem is that you mess around, you find out, right? You let them hang in there, and they're still an NHL team. What was your thoughts when you saw Josh Brown's goal and that it was 1-0 Arizona?
When I seen them take the momentum, that's what kind of scares me. We see a lot of hockey teams, especially ones that start off slow or don't really pick a momentum until too late. When you see a team like Arizona take the momentum, I didn't think they were going to carry this and take the lead into the third. But the big thing with this is you see this goal, and I was hoping they'd fight back, which they did ultimately get a goal. But I was a little concerned after that first one.
Yeah. But then JT Miller comes in, cleans up the garbage in front of the net, makes it 1-1. We're all excited. And then in the second period, second Coyotes goal, Shilovs does not see it. It like literally goes through a maze of people, scores. He didn't even react. He was standing and it went by him. That to me, it was like, I wasn't sitting there going, oh man, I feel bad for him. But oh, no, sorry. I felt bad for him, but there's nothing he could have done. What were your thoughts about that goal?
With that one thing I did notice, maybe if he went down butterfly, it kind of looked like his controller disconnected and he was stood up. But it's one of those things, you can take an amazing goalie. If you take his eyes, you can't do anything about it. And it was just an unfortunate one where not only did it get through everyone, it didn't touch anyone at all and just squeaked him, which is just sad. For him, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then we dive into the third period and everything changes. Like the whole thing. And first of all, it's Vancouver's. The penalties galore were unbelievable. How did we take 3 straight penalties or something like that? And then I was feeling like because fans have been so raging lately with the penalties, and some of them have been controversial, like the Myers one that just happened, that it snowballs, and then we look at it as like it's tilted or unbalanced, so the refs are out to get us. But all 3 of those penalties, when I looked at it and go, yep, that's a penalty. Yep, that's a penalty. Yep. But did you see it differently than I did on those 3 penalties?
No, because I mean, JT Miller did kind of get away with when we see Hoglander rip the helmet off a guy. The Zadorov trip, I mean, that couldn't get any more obvious. And I think it was Tyler Myers hooking on the last one. It's
No,
one
it
of
was
those
it was his cross check.
cross check. Yes, it's with those. I mean, the JT obviously we got off with that one, but they were obvious ones. The helmet ripping off was a bit of a scrum, but the rules are weird. And at the end of the day, I think all 3 were deserving. And thankfully, we did kill off the penalties on them.
Yeah, and what was weird about it, the PK chances were better than our power play chances. Bluger had a great chance and a few others. And so I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be awesome if we scored there? And it's like 3-1 and no, 2-1 at the time. I think it's 2-1.
Yeah.
No, 2-1 at the time. And then Garland, no, does he tie it up? No, we got scored on again. I stopped putting in the stream. Let me just go quickly here to what it said. You probably will know better than I will. Gunther scores to make it 3-1. By the way, he had 3 points on all 3 goals. And it's like, isn't that the guy that we should have had instead? Like, isn't that a little insult to the wound? I mean, he's coming out to play and saying, you guys made a mistake there. Do you ever think about that when Gunther scores and goes, man, we could have had him?
That's the thing. You see these players that you could have got, and I'm pretty sure it was his birthday today or yesterday. I mean, like my time zone right now, I feel like I'm 50 hours ahead. But that's the thing. You see these players you could have had or players you move on from, and it does sting a little more, I will say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we have 146 people in the stream tonight. I'm pumped that everyone's here. Hit the like and subscribe, not only on Kempner Canucks, but on Canucks Digest. We'd really appreciate it. We're so glad everyone's here. We're going to get into people's comments in just a minute, but want to just talk about that Garland goal was just great. Like, I don't know what it is about him right now, but he's going next level. And what I thought was interesting about the goal, Mark, was when he scored, and it was a beauty, like top shelf, hardworking, the whole thing, whole 9 yards, right? But Ingram, who had played a really great game tonight, in my opinion, was complaining about, I think it was Bluger in the crease. And I was watching, I'm like, Bluger didn't even touch you, but he was in the blue paint. So I understand he didn't like that, but he did not interfere, and he was complaining to the refs. So I was sitting there going, dude, I don't have a leg to stand on. I thought they were going to go review it, but it didn't even look like it. It was like, no, this is a good goal. What did you think about the Garland goal?
I mean, that Garland himself, the big thing with him is that I do like looking at, this was a guy that almost felt like the fans were turned on or want to trade it at the beginning. Pretty sure he changed agents to start the year, and seeing his resurgence, I mean, just the last game, the chance for him, his 2 goals, he has been outstanding. That goal is an absolute snipe. And the big thing, I know we kind of talked about, well, not us, but just fans talked about how the third line looked incredible, but I don't think you can ever break up this Dakota Joshua, JT Miller, and Connor Garland. I know Bluger was out there for it, but this line has just been dominant. And we've really seen it this game where they kind of took over, changed the momentum, and scored that goal that really just brought that momentum back.
Yeah, and then what happens is that it feels like the ice gets tilted. And for the rest of the game, it's Vancouver going, flying. I don't think I've seen them play like this for that long of a stretch all season. Like, I guess the 8, like you were saying early on, the 8-1 against the Oilers may have been very similar to that. But it was like, we're not going to lose this game. We're going to tie this up. And it started getting close, but then thankfully they took a penalty, and Pettersson finally does something, brother. Finally does something, scores on the power play. You and I were talking live while that happened. So that was pretty exciting. Do you feel like that's a little bit of a monkey off of Pettersson's back, especially on the power play?
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing, not only for him, but like you said, the power play, just him getting that goal, the team seeing another power play goal go. Maybe this starts the momentum. Maybe we see Pettersson score 40 in the next couple of games and into the playoffs. But hopefully it is a monkey off his back for him and the team.
Absolutely. So we go to overtime, and it was okay. It was okay. Like, sometimes some people don't like the 3-on-3 overtime because it's just like, cat and mouse and just keep away. But I don't know. I think it's a little more exciting. It's disappointing we lost. I thought it was just a gross goal that they scored, but on review, when I was getting ready for the stream, it was actually a pretty good goal. It was a nice pass and a nice deflection in. Give credit to the Coyotes. They won the game. They hung in there. It was like a heavyweight fight where they were like getting all the shots, getting shot, and then just they're going to wait for their opportunity, and then they pounce. So, and it had the knockout blow there. What did you think about that goal and overall the game?
It was one of those things, like you said, it was a great pass in there. And on first reaction, when we both seen it, it was almost looked like it was tossed in front and kind of tipped by people. I do want to give a shout out to Hronek. I mean, his amazing penalty shot was, but it's at least the Canucks did come out with a point, like you said in this. They were down 3-1. They were trailing. Maybe this gives them a bit more momentum. Obviously, the 2 points would have been bigger, but seeing that goal, then you can't be overly mad about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You still want to be, but I mean, it's like you and I were talking about this, and it's like it was definitely a penalty. I'm glad they went penalty shot. Obviously, in those moments, I'd rather penalty because then on the power play would have been nice, or it would have nullified. No, it would have nullified their penalty, and then we would have went into a power play, I believe. But it's like the worst guy to take a penalty shot. It's like, are you kidding? Like, how many points does Hronek even have? Like, how many goals do you have this year? Like 2? Like, it's like, okay. And then it's like, you got to do something. So he fakes a shot, and it's like, he didn't get fooled. It's like when Bluger went on the breakaway, and he had a nice move, but he was trying to go 5-hole. It's like the guy Connor read it so perfectly. I just felt like it was that, like, he's kind of dialed in. And I think the Coyotes are kind of blessed to have this guy.
Connor Ingram, yeah, he's been outstanding. The goalies in Arizona are always weird. It seems like when they play top teams, they're lights out. When they play the bottom feeder kind of teams, they're always not playing great. But I guess Salt Lake City is going to find out how good they are next season, which is sad for the Coyotes fans.
Exactly. All right. So the this week is actually quite an important week for us. We beat Vegas 4-3, which was a fantastic game. Then we lose to Arizona in overtime, and then Edmonton's on Saturday, and that's the big game that everyone's waiting for. And so, what's your predictions for Saturday night's game?
If I'm going score, I'll be optimistic. I'll say 3-1 with 2 power play goals.
Awesome. Yeah, and I hope you're right. Trust me, I hope you're right. I predicted at the beginning of the month that it was going to be an overtime loss, but I also thought we were going to beat Arizona at home. So I'm pretty nervous about that. Not having Demko in net is also a big factor for me. If Demko doesn't play, I'm nervous about the game. The good news is McDavid might not be playing either, but they just beat Vegas tonight. And so 5-1, bro. 5-1 without McDavid. They're flying right now. I'm really nervous about this Saturday game. So what do you think about this? The way they're flying, and even with or without McDavid, do you think it matters? Because I guess you're saying they're going to win, so obviously you don't. But like, do you think they catch us and beat us for the title of the Pacific Division?
I don't think they're going to catch up for the division title, but the big thing with the Oilers are they're on such a hot streak right now, and once they do get McDavid back, if he is back for the game, I think it's going to be a real test for the Canucks. I mean, if they came out anything like they did tonight against Arizona, I don't think they have a chance to win. But the big thing is, I think if they bring this third period momentum and even a bit of the overtime momentum, I think it's going to be a good game, and I think they do have a good chance. I mean, we're seeing the team finally get healthy. We got Lindholm back, and we might get Demko back. Fully healthy, I think 3-1. If not, I think I agree with an overtime, but I would say win.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm nervous, to be honest. Here's the thing that bothers me about the Oilers game. Because if we lose this game, even if we lose in overtime, it's going to be a huge confidence boost for the Oilers. They believe that they're better than us. I believe that we're better than Edmonton, okay? I don't want to give them any confidence. So I would love, like, it's not the end of the world if we lose on Saturday, but if we win on Saturday, I think it just crushes some of their confidence that, hey, once we get to the playoffs, you guys are dead meat. I think that we beat the Oilers if we face them in the playoffs because I think we're a better team than theirs. How do you feel about a 7-game series if we end up facing Edmonton sometime in the playoffs?
I kind of like what you're saying about that confidence. I feel like this could have a kind of just a big name to this next game because, like you said, if the Oilers do say end up winning 3-2, 3-1, or a shutout, anything like that, I feel like that confidence going into the playoffs. But I feel like the Canucks are just on the verge of getting back to what they were at the start of the year. So maybe that big win is what pushes them back. Like we said, the power play needs to come back. Demko needs to be healthy at some point soon. We have Lindholm back. So maybe this game is a huge determining factor. But in a 7-game series, as good as McDavid is, I think I do still give the favor in the Canucks just for depth, the top-heavy scoring, the defense, and Demko in net.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Okay. Do you have some time to answer some questions from our chat?
Yep.
Okay. We only have 150 questions, but we're not going to go through all of them. 160 people in the chat right now watching this. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Appreciate you guys so much. And glad to have Mark here with us. Okay. So I'm going to maybe what we'll do is question only. So, okay, let's see. What's this? Hey, Mark, voice and rugged, manly look leaves you in the dust. 2 minutes for not looking so good, Mark. What are you talking about? He's a real man. He can actually grow facial hair. It's like I've tried to grow facial hair, Mark. I can't connect here. So I'm like, I look like a goof. You look good, man. That's what I think. So
this has taken me, I'd say, about a year, and it's still patchy on the side. So.
Okay, Callum, why don't you make my guests feel welcome, not crazy stuff like that. Okay. So Jaden says Demko better be back for Edmonton because we need that. I'm just going to put it into questions that you guys have for Mark. We've talked a lot about the game. I know that Personalized is here. Love having him here. He's predicted Vancouver's going to lose 6-3, which is like, I get it. He nailed one of the predictions this week already, but then he says that we're going to beat Calgary 7-2, which I love beating Calgary in the preseason, in the regular season, and the postseason. Anytime we can beat Calgary, I love it. So I'm okay with that. But do you have a hated team? Like, is there a team that you're like, I don't care what happens, we can't lose to them, or I don't want them to win at all? Is there a team like that? Because that's Calgary for me. Like, I like Calgary.
I feel like it has to be the Oilers and the Bruins for sure. I feel like that's two teams you just don't want to lose. With that Calgary game, though, 7-2, I feel like Kuzmenko is going to get those 2 goals.
Yeah, no kidding. Right. Absolutely. So, okay. So for me, there's 2 teams I hate using the word hate, but I hate the Flames and I hate the Bruins, and I would love to see them go 0-82 every year. You know, that kind of, like, that's the weird thing. But at the same time, I have so many friends that are Flames fans that are like nice guys. You know what I mean? So it's not that I hate all the fans or whatever. There's just something about that rivalry in that team that I just dislike. So I hear you. But with Edmonton, what I find is interesting, because you don't like Edmonton, and I find that interesting because normally for Canucks fans, I find that Canucks fans actually respect Edmonton until we play them, and then they're disrespectful. But then, like, they just understand, like, Gretzky era. They understand all the cups. They understand McDavid's a stud. Like, they understand that. But interesting you say Edmonton, because I find that most people respect them as Canuck fans. but we hate losing to anybody, right? So
I think my biggest thing is not that I hate the team. I mean, McDavid's incredible. Even like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I like Draisaitl. But I find the fans, and this is more towards three of my friends that are Oilers fans. I can tell you right now, if I sit down and watch a game and the Oilers win, I'll never hear the end of it. So it's probably more of just a hatred towards not my friends, but what they say once the Oilers do end up winning a game.
okay, so I actually like that you said that, because I have found lately, because there are so many people that come into watch my channel and come into my streams that are Canucks fans that live in Alberta and a lot in the Edmonton area, and they talk to me a lot about how toxic it is there, the radio, and how much they bash the Canucks. And I'm like thinking, what's so weird? Like, why are they so consumed with us? We've sucked for so long, right? And it's like now the one season we're good. The one season we're good. And it's all of a sudden they're like, it's like Big Brother syndrome. Like, you can't be good like me, you know? And it's like they're calling us frauds, Mark. I don't know if you saw my video about are the Canucks frauds, but it came from Oilers fans. And they were calling us frauds. Here's the thing, Mark. The Oilers are actually the frauds. They're the ones that are like cup or bust. They're the ones that are sitting there and going, like, this is insane. How in the world are they calling us frauds? We haven't been good in years.
We're just happy to be at this point of the season, this friends. I find the big thing is like you see Connor Garland scores his 19th, and then it's just he's not Connor McDavid. It's like no one said that. Like
it's like the weirdest comparison ever.
Yeah. I just find Oilers fans I think they like other teams more than their team. That's the biggest problem. And I'm sure if there's any here, they're going to eat me out for saying it,
but it's probably true. And I don't know. I just think it's just so strange. It's like, okay, you've like literally beat up on us for years and years and years. And now it's like, okay, it's fine. But granted, we did beat them 3 times in a row. And that first game, 8-1, was unbelievable. I didn't think we were going to win the next one or the next one. And the Canucks proved us wrong. So, man, the Canucks are for real. I think they're for real. So, all right, you and I can talk all day about this, but let's just see if we have any good questions here. Okay, Japan 4 says, Mark, why does it seem like when it comes to our injuries, we're always so off on the timelines?
With that, I feel like the timelines aren't too off. I mean, Dakota Joshua was kind of given that 6-week window. I know Susie was a tiny bit. The weirdest one was Lindholm, because it kind of felt like even to this point, we didn't know exactly why he was out, how long he was out. I know with Demko, he was put on LTIR and stuff like that, but they were saying how it was to open up space. They called up guys like Jet Wu, Baines, stuff like this. But with the injuries, it feels like they don't want to talk about it too much. I mean, we're getting the guys back. Be nice if they said, hey, Demko's going to be back at this date. He will be ready. But I think at this point, as long as we're healthy for the playoffs, I just take that with a blessing.
Yeah, and what do you think? Like, did you hear what his injury actually is? Because this is what I don't like about the NHL compared to NFL. It's like lower body injury. Well, there's a lot of parts. Like my guess was it's a groin. Have you heard any different?
Not really, because like I said, they don't go specific with it, and it seems like the Canucks really don't like to go specific with it. I mean, we've seen Susie go out, and that was a hand injury and stuff like that, but it was a weird thing because it seemed like a lot of fans were all over the place of saying, hey, maybe it's his back, maybe it's his wrist, but it seems like groin was what it was trending towards too.
Yeah. And I think that as the game grows, like obviously the NFL is like superior in the way of hype, way of like fantasy football's taken over. And so everything's gone. And then you've got the Taylor Swift thing going on. And they're so big now that they can handle scandals, no problem, and keep growing. The NHL's not there. And not that we need to like handle scandals well, don't get me wrong. But I think the reason why the NFL discloses the injuries more is there's so much gambling going on in fantasy football or FanDuel or whatever, underdog, all these different things, right? So I think that that's the reason why, like, they wouldn't be told that we have to do that. I think if our game was bigger, they would have to disclose those injuries because people are putting a lot of money online. So I wanted to ask you that question because you've seen a rise in the games with like every third commercial now is sports gambling, right?
Yeah.
Sports betting. So do you think that's going to change, or do you think it's just going to still be vague and awkward?
I could see it depending on organizations. You have the ones that are kind of just like sealed mouth. They don't like talking a lot. But it seems like with betting becoming so big, I agree with your take on the football thing. You might have a wide receiver, Justin Jeffries, out, and you don't want to just say, hey, lower body injury, he might be back at so and so time, because there's so much money on the line. So as the sport grows, and especially with NHL really pushing this just betting odds on everyone, it seems like it will be coming down to more of the, hey, this is the injury, he will be back at this date at the latest, and then that will make most people happy and everything like that.
Absolutely. Okay, Personalized has a question for you. Are you still a Maple Leafs fan at all, or did you just wear a hat?
So I know I have a Wendell Clark jersey in the background. So the big thing is I'm from Newfoundland. Growing up, it seems like Newfoundlanders pick two teams, Habs, which is disgusting, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. I grew up in a household with everyone was Leafs fans, but my big thing was I didn't want to be a Leafs fan and follow everyone's footsteps. I have a bunch of family in BC, just in Vancouver. First NHL game I seen was actually Luongo shutting out the St. Louis Blues 4-0. I remember I was so young. I thought they were booing them, but they were saying Lou. So it's one of those things. I like both teams. I do pick and prefer the Canucks over the Leafs, but both teams I do like. It's one of those things. Growing up, it was awesome to have, hey, I can watch the Vancouver Canucks beat the Toronto Maple Leafs and make fun of my dad, but still at the same time, the very next night, watch Montreal lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like I said, Canucks are number one, but I do still have some sort of feelings and connection with the Leaf because of family and such.
Absolutely. And so, like, have you ever lived in BC, Mark?
No, I visited twice in my life.
Okay, so it's weird here. And I don't understand the obsession our fan base has against the Leafs. They hate the Leafs. Like, I always talk about, like, if I'm going to do a video on this one day. I'm going to interview a ton of Canucks fans. I'm going to get some but I guarantee you the amount of people are going to say the Leafs that they hate the most. It's wild. Now, I've been trying for years to figure out why, because we only play them a couple times. We've rarely played them in playoffs. I understand the Boston thing, losing in 7 games to the Stanley Cup final, and then they're dirty and Marchand, the whole thing. I understand that, but I can't put my finger on the Leafs thing until I think it's just the way that they think that they're the center of Canada, and there's a bit of rivalry between these two large cities. I think that's the only thing I can think of. Do you have a beat on it?
It seems like a lot of, like, I mean, they seem like the most hated team. You look at the Jets, was it Mark Scheifele that walked into the locker room, said, it's no better feeling than beating the Leafs? I know when I started Canucks Digest, the biggest thing that went through my head was, do I keep the Wendell Clark jersey up or do I take it down? Because I know the Leafs are hated. Like I said, I love the Canucks. Canucks are number one. I fell in love with Hendrik Sedin. Matt Sedin was a player that I cheered for in the Leafs when I was younger, watching with my dad. He did play 1 year in Vancouver. So it's one of those things. I understand I'm going to get a bunch of hate for it, but it's awesome just to have a favorite team in the East and the West. I mean, living in Newfoundland, it's so much easier to watch Eastern Conference games. I mean, right now it is 3:27 in the morning for me.
Oh my
but
goodness.
I do like the Canucks more than the Leafs, and I just enjoy watching hockey as a whole because I'm just a fan of the sport, minus the Boston Bruins, of course.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a huge jersey connoisseur. I love jerseys. I've got a ton of NFL, NHL jerseys. I got NBA jerseys. But if I was going to get a Leafs jersey, I would get a Wendell Clark jersey. I think that was a good move that you got there. But I liked Austin Matthews. I don't mind Mitch Marner, Morgan Riley. Some of the players there. Nylander is okay, but like Tyler Bertuzzi, I like him a lot. I wish Vancouver had gotten him. I really wanted Ryan Reeves in the offseason. So there's some guys there. I just don't have the same disdain. And then if you look in the comments here, like it's pretty bad. People hate the Leafs, but that's okay. Man, I'm glad that you are able to cheer for a couple teams and enjoy it, but I understand. My second favorite team was the Philadelphia Flyers, and I was a huge Lindros fan. I thought he was going to Quebec, so I bought a Quebec Nordiques jersey because I knew he was going to go there. And then when he pulled the rug underneath, I'm like, well, I still love Lindros. So I went on the bandwagon there. But when we played, I've watched the Canucks versus Flyers number of times, usually around New Year's it happens. My wife and I went, and we were young adults at the time. The Flyers beat the Canucks 8-0. The Legion of Doom destroyed Vancouver, and I walked away just so disheartened, even though I loved the Flyers, loved Lindros. So I understand what you're saying. And there was another time where Simone Gagne scored with 2.1 seconds left to beat us 2-1. I just felt disappointed that the Canucks lost. I'm just like, man, I'm a Canucks fan through and through, but I just appreciate some other teams, right? So I hear you. I hear you.
And at the end of the day, I mean, the Canucks, the Leafs, am I really cheering for bandwagoning teams? I mean, neither team has really been successful anytime recently. So,
yeah. Okay, so Jaden asks, how do we think, what do we think about Lindholm playing with Petey?
With that, I did see Rick talking and them just kind of speaking on just putting him around the lineup. And it was weird because Lindholm said he prefers to play center. He wants to play center. And he's the guy where you kind of look at it and you say, do we want him in the bottom six? We paid a premium for him. He was an all-star. Or do you want to just get him going in the top six? So I do like the idea of getting him with Petey, maybe just to cement him on this line. But he also adds that other element to the bottom six that maybe they don't have without him.
Yeah. All right. Here's another question for you from Callum. Hey, Mark, were you a really good hockey player once?
I can't skate at all. I actually play basketball and I coach basketball as well.
Let's go. I'm a basketball coach too. That's hilarious. Awesome. That's awesome, man. Okay, what position did you play?
So in Newfoundland, everyone that's 6'2" or taller has to immediately play center. So I did play center.
Yeah, so you were in the block there, getting blocks, posting people up, drop step, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if I can find any other good questions here. Biggie versus Tupac. No, that's not good. These guys are hilarious. Here, there you go. Personalized says his second favorite team for the longest time was the Avalanche because of Burnaby Joe Sakic. I respect that. That's hilarious. Okay, Gentle Draft, one of my favorite guys in my streams. He's awesome. Trev, do you think Hronik's beard is an autumn brown or more of a brown sugar? He's got the funniest stuff, man. I don't think we're going to answer that. Hey, Mark, here's the thing. You can play in the WNBA. That's what Actually, you don't want to now. Caitlin Clark is going to rip that league up, man.
She's different.
She's amazing. Oh, my goodness. Okay. It is super late for you, man. We've been going at it for 43 minutes. I don't want to keep you up till like you have to go to work tomorrow. So I guess we should call it a night. But anything that like before we call it a night, I want to just get a little beat on like how did you get into the Canucks Digest and give us a little background there. I'd love to hear your story a little bit if you feel comfortable sharing that.
Yeah,
no problem.
No, so it's one of those things that was weird. If you looked at me a year ago, really shy guy, didn't like talking a lot. One of my friends, I'm not sure if you ever seen like Raptors Digest or Habs Digest. They had a little bit of a community going. So I hopped on a separate channel called Hattrick HQ. We started there with one of my friends. We kind of covered all of the NHL. And it got to the point where I looked at it and I was like, I want to cover a team specific. I know you talked about in your live stream. It's hard to kind of cover the entire league and everything like that. There's so many rumors going through, but I wanted to cover the Canucks and the opportunity popped up. So I just jumped on it and I haven't really looked back. Hopefully you guys keep watching, even though you see the Leafs jersey back there. But it's been awesome. And I love just kind of like sharing things with the community, just like doing videos, sharing my opinions, seeing what you guys say, and especially just interactions like this, hopping on your live show. Hopefully I can have you on at some point soon.
That'd be awesome, man. I'd love to be on your show. You know what I've learned, and maybe you heard this in my shows before, but I was a little nervous about the Canucks community when I did the videos. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go because you hear a lot of negativity. But what I was pleasantly surprised at is I have found this fan base to be extremely faithful, extremely loyal. Yes, do we have high highs and low lows? Yeah, we do. We do. But I've been so impressed about their faithfulness, their passion. I've been really impressed by our Canucks fans, especially here in this what you and I do. Like, it's a lot of work what you and I do, and people have no idea or have a small idea until they actually do it. The amount of hours that goes in, and what I've found so encouraging, and I know I'm going on a big rant here, but a good rant, but I've been so impressed by our community. What have you noticed doing videos and getting interaction with people? What's been the biggest takeaways for you?
The biggest thing is like even when people aren't really happy or they're negative on the team, I think at the end of the day, we just want to see the Canucks win. I mean, everyone in here, I'm sure, unless you're a Coyotes fan. Once again, sorry about the Utah thing, but everyone just wants the Canucks to win. So people sometimes might be negative in a way or down on the team. I think it just goes back to almost the burning passion of wanting to win. The big thing I found with the Canucks community is yes, you're going to get trolls in your comments, people saying things, but my biggest thing is at the end of the day, you do a video and you get that one comment where someone's happy, they thank you, it made their day. I think that's what really motivates me just to do the next video and to just kind of continue on what we're doing.
I find the biggest trolls are Oilers fans in my comments.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I made a video after the draft, and I talked about the Coyotes and how I felt like they failed. I did not like. Is it Schminikov? No, whoever the guy is that these. It's been so long. The two guys they drafted in the first round, I feel like they totally failed on. There was better players that they could have picked. So I made a video about the Coyotes. Oh man, that was a hornet's nest. It was so much fun. But like I'm just honest, I'm realistic, and I'm like, I'm interested in the draft. So I was very interested in what the Coyotes did. Oh man, that was a hornet's nest. But that's okay. And I can push back and say, hey, listen, you're in Mullet Arena and the whole thing. And so I was going back and forth. But the Oilers fans have been surprising to me. But the Canucks fans have been so amazing. So amazing. And I'm with you, Mark. Like those comments. So guys, girls, all of you are here, even you being here right now, 160 people in here right now. We just want to say thank you to the community. You guys and girls are amazing, and it makes what we do so much more fun. Honestly, without you, I don't know if I'd still do it, Mark. It's that much work, but the fans have been worth it for me. So
Yeah, just the motivation from everyone. That's the biggest thing. Like, if I uploaded a video and it got 20 views, but those 20 people say that it helped them through the day, made them happy, that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. It's just seeing and growing the community. I mean, the Canucks are a big team. They're hopefully going to make the Stanley Cup Finals. And I just like experiencing it with more than just me and my one other Canucks fan. And it's nice to experience with thousands of others.
yeah, absolutely. All right, man. You got to go to bed. It is. What time is it there now?
It is 3:37. No, yeah, 3:37.
3:37 a.m. Guys, listen. I thought I was awesome because I show up when we lose and other people don't. But listen, I'm nothing compared to Mark here. 3:37 a.m. Now, granted, I would love to do that. My family would be so mad at me, Mark. But great to have you on. Like we talked about, smash that like button and subscribe, everyone. Thank you so much, Mark, for being here. I appreciate you taking the time. And everyone, give Mark some hype in here in the chat. And thanks again, Mark. Any last comments before we go?
Just thank you for having me on. And I'm definitely going to have you on for a live show. I think we're going to start lives pretty soon. So I want to have you on as the first guest 100%.
Great. Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm in. I love it. All right, man. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. Hit the like and subscribe. Love making content. And of course, always, by the way, Mark, before I get into the Go Canucks Go, I hit the outro video, and you can leave and go to bed if you want. If you want to talk after, totally cool as well. But I'm game for whatever you want. No pressure from me. But if I was you, I'd probably just go to bed. But anyways, have a great night, everyone. And of course, always go Canucks go.